Yeah, it's a good spot.
Yep, we're good.
Hey, this is Phil Lilly, Lilly's Landing Resort and Marina on Lake Taneycomo normally, but today we're on Table Rock. I'm fishing with Bill Babler. He's one of our guides, longtime friend. And you got Jackson. We put in at
Eagle Rock.
Put in at Eagle Rock and been fishing a little bit. I've got Bill on the mic, so he can, this is his domain, not mine.
Ooh, I got a bite.
And yeah, we're just fucked.
Yeah,
I don't even know what we're fishing with.
Actually, we're fishing with a 110 plus 1 megabasses, and we are going to try to catch a walleye or a bass. We're just a little above Eagle Rock here. Going to hit a couple of these points and see what we can do. Tried to catch a crappie in Panther Creek, but it was really cool in there. It was 49 degrees. Out here on the main lake, it's over 50. So we'll see what happens. We're going to pull over on this point, and we'll each throw out and have one cast. And we'll see what happens with that. Yeah, hang on. See if you can really throw that. Let's see if it'll go. Throw that again. It didn't go very far. I might have it shut down. There you go. Now you're cooking. Reel that in, that doesn't count. One cast is going to be right up on this point.
Yours?
I'm going to be the one cast. Okay.
That's mine.
I caught, last time I was up here, it was before the water came up. We were at 913, 8 or 9, I believe, and I had a really big day up here. Caught a lot of fish, but no quality. But I caught a ton of walleye that were just under keeper size, just on these little bluff end points. So here we go. Here's one cast going out. We'll get her jerked down here and see if one will snap at it. Swing the old live scope in there and see if it sees any. Water's just a little warmer than it was when I was up here 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's about 50, and it was cold then. It was 46 up here. But it was gin clear, and now we have quite a bit of color in it. We're fishing our annual Ozark Anglers Tournament, and got a text from a guy a while ago that had caught over 25 with 5 keepers. They started on time. I think the guys went out at 7:30 this morning, and Phil and I didn't get over here till 10:30. And they caught them on a rock crawler. I don't know what color, but find a little bit more out on that later. Nothing on one cast. That one cast is too pressure packed. We are setting in 27 feet right off this point, but there's a little ridge that runs out here, and they seem like they'll come and before they move back in these pockets and just kind of stage on these little bitty bluff ends. So we'll see. Then there's a bluff we're going to run down to in a minute that they were just really on it. It's got a lot of pole timber and ought to be some wind on it. And those were also just kind of staging fish the other day. I might end up like the other guys running up and throwing a crankbait down the bank instead of these jerk baits, but it seems like you have a better shot at catching a walleye on the jerk bait. And I'm kind of all about the walleye. Letting it pause about 15 seconds, reeling it down, bumping it a couple times, let it pause, and then just kind of turn its head. And in a perfect world, they'll eat it when you do that. Boy, the new housing starts even up here is just unreal. They're just everywhere, new houses going in. We're going to have to start a new thing. Instead of one cast, we're going to have to call it 100 cast. See if that works out. Ooh, there's some breeze. Well, you'd think there'd be one right there. That's coming straight out of the north. Okay, it's a good one right there. Nobody seems to like it. I haven't been spending much time on these points. I'll pull in and make 3 or 4 really good casts, and if I don't get one, I'll just move to the next one. And one thing about it, if you catch one, very seldom will that be the only one. Usually there'll be 3 or 4 or 5 there, but they're not on every point, and that's what's really confusing. And where they were, they may not be there next time. So you can look for a place and then find a similar spot, and they're not always on it. So we'll just see how we do here, figuring it out.
You feel them tapping, right?
Yeah, it'll just be a little bitty thump. Now the walleye been crushing it. They've been trying to jerk the rod out of your hand, but a bass is just it feels like about the same thing as a trout bite. It's not real hard. Okay, one more. That's it. I'll throw it right back across the top of that point and see what happens. They don't have the floodgates open at Beaver, do they? Well, we're going to run up towards Holiday Island and try this again and work our way back down this way and see what happens. I didn't choose wisely to start. We are up across from Devil's Dive Resort, up the white on this this bluff. It's not really a channel swing. The channel's kind of in the middle of the lake, but this bank was just loaded with fish a couple of weeks ago. A lot of spotted bass and a lot of walleye. Not too many keepers, but there was a lot of fish here. And so we're going to try a little short stretch of it and see if they're still hanging around up here. See if we can get a bite. J.D. Fletcher, when he owned Devil's Dive Resort, used to put trout lines for walleye along this bank. Bait them with creek chubs. Yeah. He would go seine creek chubs and put trout lines. There was a lot of more pole timber on it then, and he'd run those lines between the poles, but we'll see. It's about 4 foot deeper than it was, so. about 3/4 cast off the bank, and we're sitting in 40 feet, so it's pretty deep here now. It wasn't quite that deep before. We were 36, 35 where I was setting my boat, so we'll see. It's just a shelf rock bank. Bunch of leaves in there close. Would love to get hooked on a stick bait. Yesterday when I was on Taney, I was letting my trolling motor run on about 1 or 2 to just kind of a controlled drift. Do you ever do that? Instead of just blowing down through there. It seemed like it kind of helped. I could stay with the floats better. There might be too much crud for us to get close enough up there. Seemed like they were really close to the bank the other day, and there's a huge leaf line right on that bank.
How far down does this bait go?
That bait is supposed to go 8 feet. Yeah, but it'll sink because it's weighted. As soon as you stop reeling it, it'll just start dropping, tail first. You can kind of drop it right by the side of the boat and see how fast it'll sink. Well, we didn't get a bite fishing for crappie, and we have not had a bite thus far on the bass circuit. You know, this end up here never gets mossy. You have to get almost to below Shell Knob. As long as you stay up here, you'll never get any moss. You get down there from Shell Knob down to the dam and Long Creek, it's moss, but nothing on this end, which is a blessing. We're gonna pull up a little bit. Let's go up to this little cut and we'll fish to that dock, and if we don't get a bite, we'll think of something else. We're just gonna idle slowly up there. Extremely slowly. Looks like it's a little farther away here. This may be good. We'll see. Water's clear. It should. You're about to get it. I think it's just caught by a back hook. Oh, there she comes. We just sent Jack to get it. Yeah. There's one. First bite. Boy, it's a monster. He was about halfway back and he drilled it. Oop, there he was, gone. Little bitty guy, but he bit it. About halfway back.
Mike, tell them what you're using as far as equipment. Yeah,
actually we're using Mike McClellan's signature. Oops. How far up is that? We can probably just get it without, if it's going way up where we can't reach it.
Right there.
Oh, okay, you got it. Mike McClellan's signature Falcon jerkbait rods, and we're using Daiwa Steez reels, and we're using 12-pound test line today. And then the Megabass 110 plus ones, he's using French Pearl, and I've got a Table Rock shad on. And they don't seem to be working very marvelously yet. One bite. He was very young. I might have just had another one right there under the boat. They may be out here a little ways. Felt extremely weird. Farther up this White River we come, the clearer the water seems to be. There's some stuff floating in it, but the clarity's really good. Little breeze on here, so you'd think it'd be ideal jerk baiting. Probably ideal A-rigging. Oh shoot, that was a great cast too, and lit right on a leaf. I think as the water would warm up, they'd get a little more active, but it's been awfully cold at night. -49-degree water temp up here. It's a good little spot right here. I've caught several right off this little nook. You know, a guy might swim a Kitech. Might swim a. Why don't you try that? Where is it? I know I put my, yeah, there it is. Swim that bad boy and see what happens. Just to say we did. Did you get a bite right while I was doing that? Stick. Oh. That's just a little 2.8-inch swim bait called a Kitech swim bait. Yeah, that's actually gizzard shad.
About a quarter.
Exactly. I just let it drop and then just start reeling it back slowly. Try to follow the contour. We're in about 20. I think I'm going to switch to a jig. See if there's just one laying over there on the bottom that wants to bite it. This is such a good spot. We've just had that one little nip. When I was up here the other day, I fished from about that resort to that dock for 4-something hours. They just kept biting it, but they're not here today. Okay, let's try that jig. Man, how can you go around that many times? I wouldn't think it'd be possible. I just changed to a 3/8 ounce football jig. We'll see if they like crawdads. Yeah. They didn't seem to like minnow or shad imitations today so far. Next thing we can try is lunch. Let's see how that works out for us. Might be way better. I'm not seeing as much stuff out here. The other day there was a lot of shad and a lot of fish offshore out here, and I'm not seeing much of anything today. You would think. think there was some schools of whites up here the other day, because I kept seeing them on my live scope, but I never really went out and tried to catch any of them. Anytime it'd get pointed out that way, there'd just be a glob of something. Sure looks good. Somebody wants to talk to me really bad. Do you have a Garmin trolling motor on your boat? Maybe somebody's going to tell us where there's some fish biting. Slow down. Okay, those guys that were catching all those said it slowed down for them. So, we'll see. Can't put this stick bait down. I'm so tired of the wind. Is it March that comes in like a mouse and goes out like a lion? What is that? Comes in quiet and goes out with a lot of wind. Boy, we have had wind for the last week. Lots of it. Of course, if we didn't have it, I'd want some, but I don't want this much. I'm like a farmer, it's never perfect. Are you back on your crappie jig?
No.
You still got that? It's working as well as everything else. Yeah, I mean, just anything, a crappie, a walleye, anything, but it's pretty slow for us. One baby bass. Yeah, we moved back downstream a little more towards Eagle Rock, and we're fishing a little shallower. There's a flat that comes out here, and still throwing jerk baits and stuff on it. It's tough. I can't see any bait or even any fish on either my live scope or my 2D sonar today. I'm picking the wrong spots.
How deep water are we?
We are only sitting in 18 feet right now, and we're about a cast and a third off the bank, or at least a full cast off the bank. And it's another transition spot where it comes from a bluff end down to a flat, and then there's a big cove mouth right behind me. So there's a lot of positive things about the location. It'd be real positive if there was a fish on it. Caught a couple of walleye here and a couple of bass the other day, but what I did the other day has not transferred into what we're doing today. Oh, there he is right there. Say that, and then I just drilled him.
Cool.
So, we'll see what he is. Be a big walleye. Nope. It is a small bass, and I didn't really even get him hooked. Got him hooked from the bottom. He wasn't terribly enthused about it. Man, he's cold. Look how white he is. Maybe that's a positive sign. That was only a couple of throws here. Maybe there's some more here. We'll see. Oh, there's a little group of shad. It's the first shad I've seen all morning. I saw one little set earlier back in Panther Creek. A pretty good little ball of shad out here. Fish was ice cold and white. Look at all the new, I mean, there's new ones going in all down through there. Everybody discovered they could come to the lake and work from home. Stephen hasn't been into the office in over a year. And they're not supposed to, he said they talked the other day, they're not going to go back maybe till September. And then they don't know what they're going to do. Just work from home. They've been really productive from home. Man, this is good. Come on, fish. Perfect through here. There he is. The other day when I was catching them along here, they were all full of crawdads, so you'd think that a Ned rig or a jig or even a crankbait would catch a few. I mean, they were just stuffed with crawdads. Look at this big ball of shad. Look on my live scope.
Yeah.
They ran away from me. Wonder what that was. There they are. Almost look like whites, maybe. Boy, those things, you see them run from the boat? Man, they took off like a shot.
You got the film on it?
Uh-huh. I mean, they just absolutely took off.
How far away were they?
Oh, they were probably 10 foot in front of me. Live scope shows you what a dodo you are. I don't think those were shad. Those were too big, unless they were gizzards. Some fish unders too. I've seen more here than any place we've been. We'll see if it converts to a bite. There coming in on the live. Look at the live scope. See them coming at me from here now. They're that way. Don't know what they are, but some fish.
Yeah, as long as I'm not catching something on this.
That's what Jeff's been catching almost everything on. You know, there's enough stuff out here. I'm gonna change what I'm doing here. I'm gonna put on, I think we could do those little swim baits out here. There's some stuff motivating around. Let's switch a few things here. We switched to a swim bait. There's quite a few fish kind of suspended up off the bottom, and there's some bait, but I couldn't get them to hit a jerk bait, and so we're gonna swim just a small 2.8 inch Keitech on a quarter head to them and see if we can get a bite doing that. Yeah, 4 on that one and 6 on this one. I'm just going to throw it out and count it down to about 8 or 10 and then just slow wind it back in. See if I can see anything on this graph. Phil wasn't a very good guide today on Table Rock, so we caught, what did we catch? Four small bass. We're going to hit another little spot and try to get back into the launch ramp before the main crew of the tournament come back in, and we'll assist them any way we can. But it was nice being out here with my buddy today, even though they didn't bite us very good.
Yeah, I ran out of, didn't run out of battery, I ran out of memory on my GoPro, so we're having to do it on my iPhone, the closing, but we'll put the video together. And I actually caught 2 bass here just a minute ago, but unfortunately not on the camera. Small ones, but we're going to fish a little bit more. We're going to go in. Thanks for watching. We'll try to do more on these on Table Rock. It's lots of fun. See ya.
See you next time.
Say bye, Jack.
He did. He said bye a little bit. Good boy, Jack.